But that was a big difference. Chuck Yeager had told me personally that that was a really big part of why the F-86 was better.
Oh, did he?
I believe is the first woman flight director at NASA out here to see the F-86, and we got a picture to send to Gene. Your first step is also a piece of advice I got from Olga Custodio, who was this country's first Hispanic female pilot, was say your dream out loud, because once it's out loud, it's real. You've said it. If you say, I want to become a pilot, say it out loud. Tell someone, because now it's real, and now you have a driving force to go do it. But there are days that I just cannot wait to come to work because of the mission that we're going to do that day.
That's so sweet.
Welcome to Tom's Aviation. Please enjoy this next video.
Hello everybody, my name is Chris Henry. I'm the museum manager here at EAA in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And today we're standing in front of an F86 Sabre, and we're going to walk you around and tell you a little bit about the F86 aircraft itself, as well as why the aircraft carries the paint job it does on this specific one.
Can you speak to perhaps any of the specs performance-wise, endurance-wise?
So the aircraft is 37 feet long, wingspan of 39 foot 1 inch, and max, if we're going to talk about empty weight of the airplane is 11,125 pounds. Maximum speed was 687 miles an hour, and that is in level flight. There are claims, and guys really did do it later on, where they were able to break the sound barrier in a dive. But straight and level, the airplane, especially the early variants, would not break the sound barrier.
Sure, sure. And then by chance, of the any details on what type of engine?
Yeah, so now this one is normally they were built with, so the main production of the F86 Sabre used the General Electric J73-GE-3E engine. That was a staple of aircraft at that time period. Even some of our bombers used them as well. Canadair aircraft did have a Canadian built basically as a Canadian copy of the J47 that they used. But this aircraft actually has a General Electric J47 in it.
There you go, there you go, there you go. Just sweet. And then you were mentioning about the tail.
Yeah. Oh, the flying tail? Yeah, unfortunately you won't be able to see it because it's up above. Well, actually, you can kind of see it there. You can see how it moves.
Right, right.
So the flying tail, what the flying tail is basically the whole angle of the horizontal stabilizers changes depending on what you need it to do. And you can see the slots there underneath it are something you can do. Now, when you look across at the MiG, you can see that the MiG does not have that. It is a flat-mounted, fixed.
Right.
Yeah, so... but that was a big difference. Chuck Yeager had told me personally that that was a really big part of why the F-86 was better.
Oh, did he? That's nice. That's nice. That's nice.
So the F-86 we're standing next to wears the paint job of Gene Kranz. So if you think of that name, you might not be thinking F-86s. You might be thinking the space program. Gene Kranz became a person who worked at Mission Control, became a flight director eventually. Famous for his operations, leading his teams during the Apollo 11 and Apollo 13 missions. What a lot of folks don't know is a lot of our pioneers of the space program fought in either World War II or Korea. They have these massive military careers. And Gene Kranz flew as the F-86 Sabre. So our aircraft did not have a huge history. It was actually kind of produced mid-50s. They were already phasing out the F-86. This one was actually built by Canadair. So, you know, we had an opportunity to do something a little bit different and honor a veteran who maybe hadn't had his story told in this manner. And Gene Kranz, a huge friend of the museum, we said, you know, this is someone that we really should do something with. There are no other F-86s painted as his. So we chose his paint scheme. His paint scheme is also very beautiful, and we just felt it was a natural fit. So his airplane was named My Darling Marta. And My Darling Marta is a reference to his wife, Marta, who to this day are still married, but they were married when he deployed. His name, of course, is on the canopy rail. On the opposite side of the aircraft, how they would do it is the pilots would name the left side, and the ground crew or crew chief would name the right. So on the right side of the aircraft is a completely different name on the canopy, and Miss Judy and those were from the ground crew, his crew chief. His crew chief liked to tell him that this is my airplane, I just let you borrow it. So why the F86 is so important. You know, when we entered World War II, we still had fabric-covered biplanes. By the time we ended World War II, we had jet-powered fighters. That was truly an incredible leap. Our jet-powered fighters early on were okay. They were mainly straight-wing aircraft, sometimes a little underpowered. When Korea started, we actually sent leftover World War II aircraft, and as well as a few of those early powered jet aircraft like the P-80 to combat, and they did okay. They held their own. That was until the airplane that's sitting right next to us here, the MiG-15, showed up. And when the MiG-15 showed up, that was a game changer. Suddenly you have an airplane with swept wings, you have an airplane that's faster, has the upper hand on our fighters. So we had to do something to upgrade. So the F86, built by North American, was in sort of the works. It was in the pipeline. They had tested it, and they really took the first group that was going to get the F86 and they rushed them into combat. So these guys were deployed ahead of the time that they thought they were going to be deployed. Once the F86 showed up, in my opinion, it was all over for the MiG. The F86 is a better airplane. It had things like a flying tail and just a better gun sight, better weapon system. And it really started what they called the battles over MiG Alley. So you had F86s and MiGs dueling every day. Some of the guys who were famous that flew the F86 were people like Gus Grissom, John Glenn. All of these guys are giants in our America space program. Across the way you had the Navy, and the Navy, who actually originally spearheaded the development of the Sabre. It was interesting. When North American built the F86, it was originally supposed to be a Navy fighter. The Navy really wasn't sure they were going to go away from their F9F Panthers, so they didn't order them right off. But in the meantime, the United States Air Force said, we absolutely want this airplane. The North American company was contracted later to build a variant of the F86 for the Navy. That ended up becoming the FJ Fury series. They were a little bit different. They looked similar, but they were actually pretty vastly different aircraft. But on the cover, they look a little bit different. So one of the things I'm standing next to that I'll point out is this device. To the untrained eye, that might look like a bomb or napalm or something like that. What this is a fuel tank. This is an auxiliary fuel tank. So they would put extra fuel in these tanks. They would run these first. Once these tanks were dry, they can actually drop them off, and they would just kind of fall away. But that was something that they would use to get some extra range. You did not want to fight in combat with these tanks. So if you saw an enemy coming, you would get rid of these right away, because that really slowed down the performance of the airplane.
What is the capacity of that? Do you know by chance?
I can't remember how many gallons these are. I know during World War II, they were a lot smaller, and they were like 108 gallons.
Okay.
But these ones are bigger, but I don't know the capacity off the top of my head.
Sure.
So this variant of the F86, again, North American allowed Canada to build them under contract, Canadair. And that's what this aircraft served in the Royal Canadian Air Force. Very brief period of time. It changed hands a few times for a few owners that were collectors. And then the Combat Jets Museum obtained the aircraft. They flew it for years, and then it was donated to our museum. The aircraft was flown here. We don't currently fly it. We have it on display. Currently, we're filming this during the middle of the air show, so it's outside, but normally it's right inside our Eagle hangar on display. Okay. And we have artifacts from Gene Kranz that he gave us from his time flying the F86. Big thing to tell you is when we did this airplane, we didn't tell him we were doing it. We lied to him and told him we were building a model. And we wanted to see photos so that we can kind of see the markings. He provided us a couple pictures, and he provided us a model as well. We actually got really down in the weeds, matching paint to hit the right panel line. So for example, when you come up here to the nose, we matched his photos to make sure that things like this point on this lightning bolt hits this panel in the right place. Right. That sounds like a really deep dive, and it is, but I'm a model airplane nerd. I like to build models. But to be honest, if you're going to do it authentically, you need to match it as close as you can. So there's nothing wrong with getting that deep into the weeds on markings, because really you're honoring a veteran, and the paint is that's the ultimate sort of test. That's the way you're going to show them look, we're honoring you with these markings, so you got to make sure the markings are accurate.
Sure, sure. That's sweet. That's sweet.
So one thing that's interesting to call out are the slats on the leading edge of this F86. This was a design improvement that happened on the F for the Foxtrot models. And it's one way that you can kind of tell an F model apart is the leading edge slats. So these slats were used at slower speeds, just like your flaps, to change the camber of the wing to give you more lift. So over the years, I've been here 11 years. I've been coming for 25, I believe. And I've had the absolute honor of just meeting and hosting some amazing historical figures here, as we're talking about someone like Gene Kranz around the F86. A few years ago, I got to host an astronaut reunion where I had 9 Apollo astronauts together. And at one point, I remember sitting in the room and realizing I was the only one who hadn't flown in space in the room. So, you know, when you have supporters and people who believe in your mission like that, for example, 3 4-star generals who make time out of their busy schedule to come here. Just yesterday, we actually had the current Gene Kranz, Emily Nelson, who is a flight director at NASA, and she, I believe, is the first woman flight director at NASA, out here to see the F86, and we got a picture to send to Gene. Those are historic people. You know, at this very moment, it might not be a household name, but, you know, 20, 30 years from now, Emily Nelson or someone like that, some of these 3 and 4-star generals are going to be household names. These are part of living history.
Right.
So I really love the chance that I have here to kind of balance that line between history that we already know, like the men of the Gemini and Apollo programs, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Gulf War, and then the people who are out there now making history that we're going to learn about. And I think it's very unique to have the chance to spend time with them at a time before I think the history books has the ink dry, if you will.
There you go. There you go.
I'm in a really place. I'm in a place that I absolutely love. I know it's cliched that they say get a job you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. But there are days that I just cannot wait to come to work because of the mission that we're going to do that day.
That's so sweet.
So my biggest advice, I think, to someone who's on the fence about maybe getting involved in aviation is to take that leap. Go do it. And it might be a leap that's outside of your comfort zone. But you know, I did the same thing when I was 12, and now I get to run an aviation museum, and I've been an air traffic controller and a medical helicopter dispatcher. But it was all because of that leap that was way outside of my comfort zone. The nice thing that I think the EAA has done over the years, and I really think they're at the forefront of, is making that leap easier. Come out to a chapter in your area. You don't have to just blindly show up at an airport. There's a chapter on these airports that's welcoming. Their whole mission is to bring you in. And you get to kind of come in, get a little peek to see if it's something you want to do. I think that is remarkable. And I guarantee you, the minute you cross that fence and you're on the other side of that fence at the airport, you're never going to go back. I almost just can't even imagine my life without knowing what it's like to be involved in aviation. You know, I got married 14 years ago, and everybody in my wedding party was in aviation. I knew them because of airplanes. I met my wife because of airplanes. You know, so the biggest piece of advice I can give you is make that leap. Join a chapter. You know, join the EAA. I don't mean that to sound like such a commercial, but that's your first step. Your first step is also a piece of advice I got from Olga Custodio, who was this country's first Hispanic female pilot, was say your dream out loud, because once it's out loud, it's real. You've said it. If you say, I want to become a pilot, say it out loud. Tell someone, because now it's real, and now you have a driving force to go do it. And I can't thank people like EAA enough. EAA is the reason that I'm here. You know, my first entry into aviation was via a Young Eagles ride, and I never looked back. So biggest thing, cross that fence, go join an EAA chapter, or at least go to a chapter, go to an air show, go to an air museum. Any avenue you have in your disposal in your hometown, go explore it. Become involved in the air museum. I mean, that's another great way. And I guarantee you, if you do any of those steps, you're going to be surrounded by people who are supportive, who share the same dreams you do, and really want to see you succeed because they want to succeed. And it's a team. So if one succeeds, we all do. So biggest advice is take that first step. Sometimes it's a bold one, but it's one you'll never regret taking.
There you go. There you go. Great, great.
So I just want to thank you for hanging out with me this morning as we did our walk around to the F86 Sabre that belongs to the EAA Aviation Museum. I've been Chris Henry, the museum manager, and I want to thank you also for watching Tom's Aviation.